Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer, excuse me, 55551, and I am back with a video review. And for this review, we're going to be taking a look at The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition for the Nintendo Switch. Game is also available on the PS4, Xbox One, and on PC via Steam, Origin, GOG. But for this review, we're going to be taking a look at the Nintendo Switch version. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage of me playing the Switch version of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition, I'll have a link in the description down below, and you can click on that and check out gameplay yourself, though. As far as The Witcher 3 goes, though, I remember playing this when this game was announced. I think it was released back in 2015. It was an interesting game in a way, though. It was fun. The story and the combat was enjoyable and all that. But what really caught people's attention, I think this was one of the big things, was that CD Projekt Red did what at the time a lot of video game companies kind of abused, is that is the practice of DLCs, where CD Projekt Red released DLCs in free content updates and paid expansion, and why a lot of people look at The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt as a good example of DLCs. But in general, the game was just great. The story was fascinating. Excuse me, the whole setting, and of course, like I mentioned, the gameplay and so forth. So it was kind of interesting when rumors started to pop up about a possibility that the game was going to come to the Nintendo Switch. Now, when I first heard the rumors, I wasn't 100% sure. I felt like this was one of those too good to be true situation, and most people did dismiss it. Of course, I didn't completely dismiss it, especially when we had games like Doom and Wolfenstein 2 make their way over to the Nintendo Switch. So to me, it felt like at the time it wasn't out of the realm of possibility, but I treated it as pretty much as a rumor. Then we started hearing how retailers were promoting The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on the Nintendo Switch, to even the voice actor coming out and basically teasing about The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for the Nintendo Switch, which at that point I started to feel like this was starting to turn into when there's smoke, there's fire, and there was certainly a lot of smoke. But the official confirmation obviously was during E3 2019, during the Nintendo E3 Direct, and that right there, seeing gameplay footage of it, was the official confirmation of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for coming to the Nintendo Switch, the complete edition. And it literally blew my mind, the fact that a game like this, a game that many thought could never make its way over to the Nintendo Switch, somehow did. On top of that, basically having everything in a 32 gigabyte cartridge is still just amazing and all that. So after investing a couple weeks into The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, I honestly will say that it's still an amazing game. Don't get me wrong, it's still an enjoyable experience, but it may come down to, there are certain things that may come down to depending on whether this is the version worth picking up or not. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons, and we'll start off first with the pros, and that is the story. As always, I mean, I never played the other Witcher games, Witcher 1 or Witcher 2, although you don't really need to play those to understand The Witcher 3, but the whole world of Witcher 3 is just fascinated and so forth. For some reason, I get a little bit of a kind of a Game of Thrones vibes out of it, though, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Not to mention, it's, like I said, the story is just very interesting, and you don't really need to play the others as far as I'm aware of. The next thing I do want to talk about is the combat, and the combat is enjoyable. Geralt has basically both a light and heavy attack, though, which, I mean, light you could do like more combos with it. Heavy, does more damages. He basically carries two weapons: a steel sword or an axe if you prefer to go with that one, and a silver one. The steel one usually is used to attack other enemies, other characters, while the silver one is Silver One is used mostly to attack, any of the ghouls or monsters that inhabit the world of Witcher 3. You also have access to a lot of his spells. Some of them can be like, doing like a fire damage. Other spells could be, take control or stun like an enemy, or use telekinesis power, or even put up like a shield barrier for yourself, or use basically a trap to capture like ghosts and all that stuff, or to do some damages to some spiritual enemies though. So, but in terms of combat, it's a fun third-person combat adventure. I mean, you kind of do to a certain degree get off a little bit of a 3D Zelda vibe to it. I mean, again, both of them are kind of a little bit different, but still, the combat is enjoyable. And last but not least is the content, and the fact that you're getting all the DLCs, all the free DLCs, including the Blood of Wine, and I believe I'm saying that correctly, Blood and Wine and Heart of Stone in this. And the fact that it, like I said earlier, the fact that this is in a 32 gigabyte cartridge, a Switch cart though, it still is amazing. The fact that I don't know what Saber Interactive, the folks who handled the Switch version of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, did, but I gotta applaud them, the fact that they managed to squeeze everything out of this and put all the content into this game. And I have to say hats off to Saber Interactive on that, and of course hats off to CD Projekt Red as well. So basically you're getting the full Witcher 3 experience on this, and there's no as far as I'm aware of, there's no okay, you get a code and you can download the rest and all that stuff. They're actually made an effort to put everything into a 32 gigabyte cartridge. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get to part 2, which are the cons. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video review of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition for the Nintendo Switch. So now that I gave you part 1, which was the pros, why don't we get started with part 2, which are the cons. And like the pro, there are 3 cons I could think of in regards of the Switch version of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I still enjoy the game nevertheless, and I still think it is fun, but there are a couple of hiccups there. We'll start off with the first one, and that is controlling and moving Geralt, if I'm saying the name correctly though, the main character though. And I will say, trying to control him sometimes, it feels like he feels a little bit stiff. He just doesn't walk, or character doesn't move as smoothly as, say, like, let's say like Link is in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild though. I'm not saying that it makes it impossible for him to move Geralt around or anything like that. I mean, when riding on the horse, isn't that bad or anything like that. But it doesn't feel he just feels a little bit stiff when it comes to moving him. His animation just seems a little weird when it comes to seeing him, move around and so forth. The next thing I do want to talk about is some of the bugs and glitches in the game, including some of the frame rate drops a little bit though. Now, I do want to say, based on my time with the game, I haven't ran into anything where the game kicked me out or anything like that, or the game froze or anything like that. They're just some minor glitches here and there. I mean, like one item might go through like a wall or something, to some characters just, stuck in a certain animation and all that stuff, but nothing game breaking or anything like that. I did notice that there are times the frame rate does drop a bit at certain moments. Most of this I saw basically when there's a cutscene going on. The frame rate might drop a little bit than it normally would though. But again, like I said, nothing game breaking or anything like that. Nothing where the game crashed or froze or anything like that so far. So yes, some minor bugs and glitches, some frame rate drops, but nothing to the point where the game is just broken or anything like that. And last but not least, we need to talk about what I view as the elephant in the room, and that is the visuals. Okay, let's just get this clearly out of the way in regards to the visuals on The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. They're not the best looking version. I mean, when compared to the PS4, Xbox One, or the PC version, this is definitely the worst version of the game. Is it as bad as some on the internet make it out to be? No, it's not as bad as some on the internet make it sound like it is, though. But it's not the best looking version ever, though. When you play it on the screen or when you play it in dock mode, though, you can obviously see it's not the best looking version. When playing it in portable mode, however, it's not as noticeable than when you would if you were playing it in dock mode, but it's still there to a certain degree, though. So visually, yes, it's not terrible, but again, it's not the best looking version of The Witcher 3 out there, which, let's all be honestly, though, that shouldn't be surprising to anyone out there. Overall, I'm still amazed that Saber Interactive, who handled the Switch port, and CD Projekt Red was able to bring a game like this over to the Nintendo Switch. I never thought the day would come that something like this would come to the Nintendo Switch, and I'm just still impressed with that, though. I mean, don't get me wrong, the game is still good. I mean, the story's still good, the combat is great, and the fact that you're getting all the DLCs and all does make this sort of like a definitive version. I basically feel like if you're getting this for the Switch, you're not going to be left out or anything like that. Yes, some of the stuff here, like Geralt being moving him, it feels a little stiff at times, and there are some bugs and glitches, but nothing game breaking or anything like that. And obviously the visuals are not the best looking version, but that hasn't stopped me from enjoying the game nevertheless, though. As a game itself, though, it's definitely a recommendation, especially if you like games like, whether you like, Breath of the Wild, Dragon Dogma, Dark Arisen, or Skylander, though. This is definitely worth adding that to that collection. Although, to be honest, as much as I enjoy Skyrim, I have to say this one is better than Skyrim, to be exact. As for which version to pick up, that will depend, though. Although I still recommend the game, the Switch version is a cautious, a cautious recommendation, because on one hand, you are getting a version that's not going to look good or anything like that. It's going to be the worst looking version compared to the PS4, Xbox One, and PC via, like Steam, Origin, or GOG. So, although obviously the PC version will always be the best version, all that stuff. So, on one hand, you're not getting the best version of the game. On the other hand, you are getting a version of you're getting a version where not only will it have all the DLCs and all the content, but the fact that you can either play it at home or bring with you on the go. So it really is going to have to depend, though. If portability isn't your thing, or you really don't care about portability, though, then just stick with either the PS4, Xbox One, or the PC version. But if you like the idea of bringing Witcher 3 Wild Hunt with you on the go, and don't have a problem with the visuals, that they're not that big of a deal, though, then I would say, or if the Switch is your main console, then I would say get the Switch version indeed. But regardless of which version you pick up, Witcher 3 is still a play, though. The Switch version, like I said, it's a cautious recommendation. It's going to depend on how much are you willing to tolerate the fact that the game's not going to look as good as the PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and whether or not you like the idea of bringing Witcher 3 Wild Hunt with you on the go or play at home, though. I will say, before I end it all, I will say it is interesting that CD Projekt Red brought this over, and while we don't know if this will ever happen at all, and odds are still very slim it could ever happen, it does kind of open the door to the possibility that perhaps, maybe one day, something like Cyberpunk 2077 could maybe make its way over to the Nintendo Switch. Again, we don't know if that will ever happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen or anything like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind if they port over the first or second Witcher over to the Nintendo Switch, but it's not out of the realm of the possibility that perhaps, just maybe, Cyberpunk 2077 could maybe one day happen on the Switch. Either way, though, like I said, game in general is a recommendation. It's worth picking up, and we'll try it out. Switch version is recommended, but only if the Switch is your main console. You like the idea of bringing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on the go or playing at home, and you're not bothered by the visuals at all. Okay, this concludes my video review of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition from the Nintendo Switch. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on the Nintendo Switch? Are you glad that CD Projekt Red brought this game over to the Nintendo Switch? The fact that visually speaking, the game is not going to be look as good as the PS4, Xbox One, or PC, does that bother you in any way, or that's not a big deal at all? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it if you do, and I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. Excuse me. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!